good afternoon and welcome to SM Live. Good to see you. It's live stream Tuesday today, so this is our 5th live stream, so glad you can join us. We've tried a different day today, just partly to avoid the month end on Friday, but also last week it was half term and Howard had taken some holiday. So Howard, did you have a good few days? looks like you had your haircut as well. I think I definitely need to get mine done. I've had to lower this chair just to try and fit on the screen, I think. So
yeah, mine was DIY. So but it seems to have worked for the minute. Looking like we've got another few weeks to wait.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And I think with that point, obviously Boris's speech yesterday. Disappointing, I guess, but at least the positives are there's a road to recovery sort of mapped out, and 7 weeks, 49 days and counting. And that's just for the haircut. No, that is for the retailers opening. So, of course. So Howard, we've got a good show today. Obviously, talking about more of highlights, really, I suppose, from some of the other shows around omnichannel retailing, master inventory. I suppose getting things ready for when the showrooms can open up, but in the meantime, trading through the online sales route through these next 7 weeks, as we have been doing for some time. Do you want to tell us what we've got today?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely focus on some of the online channel, the feeds through either the APIs on our integration. So yeah, definitely focus back on that again. We've got some new features that we've added in there as well. So we keep evolving in this area. So it'd be great timing to be able to show some new features and some and just to go back over some of the bits that we've shown previously, perhaps in more detail now. So yeah, good.
Excellent. Yeah, I think everyone's going to be keen to, I suppose, retailers have had to operate using remote selling for some time now, but I think the difference that we really need to home in on is as things do start to open up again, we need to keep everything in sync, so it's not then just a kind of feed provision to get stock onto a website or an online marketplace. It's actually a live representation of what stock you've got both in the business and online.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back off, our previous, I think it was the 4th, part 2 of the of reporting and also looking at the sales status changes, absolutely comes into its own when it's when you're when you've got the stock and everyone's involved in that stock and has visibility of that stock, whether it's being with your own team internally or the group, and then externally as well. So keeping that stock in real time is absolutely key for this. So. We can brush over some of those bits as well as some of the features.
Brilliant. Okay, well, if you want to set up your screen and we'll do some screen sharing, and this is obviously, as we said previously, it's a live demonstration of SalesMaster, the platform, focusing on our StockBook product. But Howard, if I cut across to, are you ready? If I cut across to you to share your screen? Cool. There we go. Brilliant.
Quick and easy. There you go. Straight in. That looks good.
Yeah, we can see it all fine, and
everyone see. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. Well, again, I was just going to drill down into some specific vehicles, and then I was going to match them. So I wanted to do a bit more on that matching, and how simple that is to do with inside the application as well, just to grab some key bits of information and also to pick up, in this case, the CAP code of that as well.
And just to remind people why matching is so kind of key for these data sets, it's around that kind of onward use of the data in more of a consumer way. So SalesMaster is powered by manufacturer data for new cars, so but often there's a translation needed in order to make it more connected to other services to provide that end-to-end online transaction.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to choose a different brand this week.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So why not? So I've just gone straight into Mercedes-Benz. Just selected that as a token, so it's just removed everything that doesn't fall into that category. And then I'm just going to go down pretty quickly. So I'm going to choose maybe some B class 180s in this case. So, down from that sort of 21,500 vehicles down to 15 very quickly. And then I'm just going to go down a bit further and just look at the ones maybe with the premium packs or, the premium line vehicles. So straight away, we're down to 5 very quickly. And going to minus the sold. You see I've got that little sold one down here. As I mentioned, on a previous video, we did a lot about, marking vehicles under negotiation, marking vehicles as sold. Due to my access to the system in this environment, I get to see the sold vehicles. So I just want to remove that one in this instance. So I'm just going to do a minus before I do the token and take that one away. So you can see now I'm left with all the same vehicles, albeit different colours in this case, and they may have different options available in them as well. I think these are basically matched, so that you'll probably find they're all the same options. But as we've shown previously, you can search while looking for just those specific options, and then I'm just going to select all of those vehicles. And what you'll notice when I do that, just before I do that, you can see all the headers that we'll go back over a couple of these today, Chris. So and everyone that's watching, of course. But we can see that we've got the ability to download and change the columns and save the views and so forth, which we'll do a bit of today. But I'm just going to select those vehicles, and what that does instantly when I select the top box there, as you can see, it selects all the 4 cars that I've got in my view, and it just opens up these new boxes that I have available. This will be slightly different based on what you've got as a setting in your environment. So some people that use SalesMaster will say, oh, maybe I haven't got those. They're just to do with different channels and selecting those. So, adding tags, which everyone would have, or sharing to certain media partners that we have, managing the pricing, which we'll do a little bit of today as well. And then the final one on the end is the cap match, and that's the one I want.
And those,
so as soon as I select that.
Sorry, those buttons, as you mentioned, depending on kind of the use case of how you're using SalesMaster in your environment, they will be configured accordingly. But if you haven't got those buttons and you think you should have them as a user, then please get in touch with our team, either by support, and don't forget you can actually ask us questions live through the live stream. So Annette's just given me a nice prompt on that actually. So if you have any questions, please ask them here, and we'll then put them in the chat so everyone can see what you're asking, and then respond back to that. So sorry, just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, no, absolute key bit of what doing these live streams. Ask the questions. It's always better to kind of share them as well, and everyone gets the answer. So, very much so. So I'm just going to match these 4 vehicles that I've selected, and very simply, I'm just going to with the search function within the app as well. You can just search straight for Mercedes. I know that's what I want. Then I'm going to look for the B class vehicles. So all I need to do is just type in B. So really straightforward in how you do that. And then I'm just going to select the hatchbacks, which these vehicles are in this case, and then I can just keep drilling down into that information as well until I come across the vehicles that I'm looking for. So just the premium lines here at the bottom. So as soon as I select them and I update those vehicles, that will update all of those 4 vehicles in that view, and also add the cap code to those vehicles as well. So enhance the data. It may be pricing that we want to have a look at what the cap pricing is at that stage. That would also pull through at that time.
But also technical data and things. Basically, as soon as we make that link, providing you've got the appropriate cap license in the business for this use case. And the onward use case, but obviously it's a paramount piece that most dealer groups certainly have, and retailers now. And if you haven't, we can help arrange that, obviously. But it does allow then the translation of this data. So when you're rendering the vehicle information on a website for a consumer view, we can pull in much more information around that vehicle over and above the factory data that we have to be able to compare it like for like with some of the used data that you'd perhaps see on a dealer website today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, once I've done that, I can then obviously save those vehicles, knowing that full well what I've done with those vehicles so far. So I'm just going to open up column chooser, and I can bring in CAP ID, for instance, as a header, and I can just grab that and bring that up like so. So now I've got the CAP ID. As you can see here, they're all the same as I expected. I will just drop out mileage and take something out of that view just to tidy up the view, because I want to save that and use that at a later stage. So I can simply go to my save views, know I've done this, so CAP matched, maybe B180s premium. So I can call it whatever I want. Within that as well, I can share it with anyone else I want to in the team, as we've mentioned before, or select on a site, or select everyone and share it to everyone. But in this case, I'm just going to save it for ourselves, and then just pin that as a tab, as we've done on previous videos, and then I can recall that at any stage. So once I've done that, I've got enough of the information now to I've got the cap code, I've got the information on the pricing as well, and obviously the enhancement of the data that's required. So yeah,
brilliant. No, that's really good. I think, and again, a time saver to do that on mass. You've done it on 4 cars there, but to be able to do it on a big batch of data that you want to push, instead of having to go in one by one matching vehicle data, you can do it as a bulk up data. Obviously, further downstream, the benefits will be when there's more aligned data sets, and we can do this all automatically. But until that point, we felt it's essential to provide the tooling within SalesMaster to give retailers the option to be able to get new cars on that e-commerce journey, especially now. As I say, it's another 7 weeks of trading like this, and obviously in the future people are going to still now lean on this method of buying cars. Some people will go into the showrooms, some will sort of stay on the online journey. So okay, let's just cut back to the main camera. The use case of that in the business, who would typically be the sort of person that would use this bulk matching? Where does that sit? Is that something a salesperson would do, or is it, how does it fit within the roles of the business?
It can vary, actually. Obviously, we can give the permission to whichever individual, whichever role within the business, to be able to do exactly this within the system. But we tend to find that's from a sales manager's perspective, really, whether or not they're controlling the vehicles as a single site, or they have the group marketing team that are doing this as well.
So it could be
in many cases where.
Could be a centralized or divisional function, or just at a site level. I guess it just depends on how the stock is handled. I suppose it's the other thing that's just popped to mind there. Actually, it gives you that chance to be more selective about what you match and what you put online, instead of sort of having to put everything online. So you're showing all of your stock, or one at a time. It's easier to be able to select which ones you want to do.
Yeah, and you tend to find you don't want to do in this case where I selected those 4 vehicles, 2 of them were silver vehicles. So do I want 2 of the same vehicles sharing across to my website? Well, probably not. If it's the same price, and the same offering, I might just want to have one of them going across, and that doesn't be 1, 2s and 3s. That could be 10s to 20s. So of the same car. So yeah, as you say, keeping a control of what you are sharing, and when we go back to the app in a second, we'll show that of how you can see what you are sharing, and what you're not, of course. So, we can control both.
And a key word that you just said there around sharing is another important point, I suppose, to mention again. As it's a shared view of your inventory in SalesMaster. It's not like a copy of data that's being fed and sent out to another source. So if a salesperson in the showroom is looking at that data, or remotely now as it is, that it will be connected to what's showing on the website, and vice versa. So it's a real-time connection delivered over an API integration with the website providers. Okay, well, let's go back to the app and show that. I mean, I think you mentioned also pricing as well. It'd be quite interesting to say, how does pricing feature into that?
Yeah, well, obviously, just before we split off, I captured these these specific vehicles that we were looking at, and we could do exactly the same again. As soon as I obviously choose select those 4 vehicles, you can see there. What I can do with that is I can go straight to the managed pricing within that as well, and once I do that, what you'll see is once I click on the managed pricing, as you can see there, you can see I've been given the retail price that we just looked up. So we've got quite assured that it's the right pricing on that as well. And then I can copy that straight into the OTR of the vehicle, and then potentially append an offer price on that as well. So if I just drop that by £1,000, for instance, I can do that. And as soon as I've appended or added that to that list there, that will then share across to the media partners that I'm connected with. So as soon as I click to update those vehicles, that will just share straight across. So any of the web providers that I'm using and that I'm connected up with.
So if we're sending out on the API, which normally I think we'd send both, wouldn't we? The retail price and the offer price.
Yeah.
Because then on your website you'd be able to show a saving on that vehicle.
Yeah, some do and some don't, but we send both.
Yeah.
So whatever's chosen by that dealer group or that brand, or and discuss with the web provider what they want to or what they will display. We send both across the API. So how that's then displayed on the website is down to the client themselves. So, yeah,
great. And I guess with those views, you're probably just going to go into that now, but you don't have to necessarily do all of it in one go, or you could batch that. So if I was in the business as a sales manager wanting to manage this process, but I didn't necessarily, I wanted to distribute the tasks, so I wasn't doing it all myself, I could perhaps give somebody else the job of doing the pricing while somebody else did the CAP matching.
Yeah, so in this case, I'm just going to say Mercedes minus. So we know we just did the 4 Mercedes car vehicles, so it's worth just choosing them again.
Yeah.
And then I can bring in some of the headers, the key headers on that. So whether it be offer price, for instance, I could bring in offer price against the retail from that as well, like so. And OTR, I added a value into OTR as well, so I could bring that in next to it. So and just make my view specific to this kind of requirement, like so. And you can see here, there's lots of vehicles on there that we haven't done, but to identify the vehicles that we have done out of the nearly 1,900 vehicles there, I can simply go to Search Builder and use a specific search and say, actually, show me all my vehicles that got an offer price that are more than 1, for instance. That will then just bring that through those 4 vehicles that we've done together today, like so, and that worked perfectly.
Brilliant.
So then, simply always does, and then simply I can put MB with offer price. So I basically know that's the vehicles that are now being shared across to the media partners that are accepting the vehicles in that once they have an offer price or an OTR attached to them. And again, as you mentioned, if I wanted to share those with my individuals again, I can do and say, look, these are the ones that are online from there as well. I can do that and just select their name, and then I can pin it in a tab for myself as well. But I suppose the critical one on this is not necessarily what has an offer price, because that's fine. Everything with an offer price is sharing across, but you might want to highlight the vehicles that don't have an offer price. And you can simply do that a very similar way. We could just go a bit backwards on that. So we just say, minus sold. And this time I'm going to say, actually, show me all my vehicles that have an offer price that are less than 1. So that will show me a large volume of vehicles that don't have an offer price, but that's kind of the workflow then.
Fantastic.
Of the new vehicles. So and then again, final bit, just to then save that and say needs offer price. or however you want, whatever you want to call it, and then share that to the person that's maybe responsible for building that offer price on those vehicles as well, and then pin that as a tab. And of course, you can have them scheduled as emails coming to you to show you what you need to price up. Some people use this one as once a vehicle gets to a certain stage or certain days in stock count potentially. So you might want to say actually you don't want to add an offer price to a vehicle that's weeks away or months away, just about to be built. But you might want to say actually just show me them where the days in stock. So DIS is more than. Give them some grace and say 3 days. There you go. And then you could just save that as your view as well.
Neat. That's really good. So that kind of distributed workflow, I suppose, to allow multiple members of your team to all be aiming for the same, output in terms of getting those cars and vehicles into a specific format to be able to put in front of customers. So. And being a manageable list that can, with that criteria that you've put in, whether it's days in stock or, anything else around physical, maybe just vehicles that have got a VIN number or vehicles that are at a certain status, so you can really hone in on that data set you need to work with.
Yeah, I'd see that one a lot. Has VIN number or VIN number has been updated, or reg number in some cases. But yeah, all of those kind of tasks are available within Search Builder as well. So as you say, has a VIN number is set basically, and then I just apply that, and it will just show me the vehicles that have got a VIN number associated to them. So yeah, building these workflows is really key to making sure that your design of your flow of work that needs to go to be able to get a vehicle online, absolutely can be built inside the application. So yeah.
And you mentioned video. Then is there a way? We've obviously done a section on images and kind of other media before, so I think video is becoming increasingly popular, isn't it? So can we show some of the video capability?
Yeah, so with the videos uploading into, obviously, I've got some vehicles in the application in this one where it does have the images added in as well, photos and so forth, which is exactly the same when it comes to
video as well.
A YouTube video URL or a Vimeo that you can add into the vehicle. But what I was going to show as well, you can see there you go. That's
cool.
With photos.
And those, I think we'd said in that last video about the images, but I think the same applies to videos. We can handle multiple multiple providers on that to integrate it. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I was just going to, and I'll probably just leave this a little bit open, but I mentioned we've added some new features into some of our reporting and grouping in this one. So some of you guys that have seen this before know that we can group all the vehicles that we've got in our view. You can see here, and it's just got a nice little count of those vehicles. I'm just looking at available vehicles at that 14,000. You can see them there, and obviously I can sort that ascending and descending like so. But if I go into column chooser, I can actually select a number of the coverage headers as well. So I can bring in CAP coverage. CAP coverage should be 100% because this is how we've built the vehicles in this environment. But let me just drag out mileage.
This is brilliant in terms of back to that sort of manager's oversight view. So you can distribute the work with the work queues, but you can also see that kind of dashboard around how it's tracking. That's just great. As a kind of overview display. You can group by site. You can group by many different headers. I've just allocated to group by brand in this case, but you can see here that it's counting the vehicles. It's giving me a percentage of all of those vehicles. What I've got the representation of each brand
but then it's got, how many images, what's my image coverage look like. CAP coverage, as I mentioned, these are CAP coded, but in real life they may not be. And people may be matching them inside the application, in which case that would be at the proportion that it should be. Offer price coverage, video coverage, very few in there. And then I've just left retail price in there, but that's just a count on retail.
Yeah.
Quite big numbers at the end there.
They are, yeah. I was going to say we need to get some more videos and images on those vehicles. So.
Yeah. Well, you can. Could I make that look more than? There you go.
Nice.
That's still high.
Yeah, it's still high. But also, I suppose what you've done there is just you've shown the search that you can search on top of that group view as well. So if you wanted to say, just show me that for blue cars or a fuel type or something like that, all the dashboard would reflect that in the same way the vehicle search does.
Yeah, I was showing one of our kind of brand colleagues this morning actually, where once you've grouped those vehicles in this way, you can just search in on top of it as well, exactly as I did with the kind of over 90. As you said there, show me all the red cars. There you go, there's 536. And you can see how quick that kind of reports on that as well. So all the red vehicles that we've got that are over 90 days, that's them grouped by brand.
So if you wanted to do that on that could be anything, couldn't it? I suppose like a tag or a profile, something that's campaign with an incentive on, or it could be fuel type and, any of those, which is, really powerful. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Howard. Let's, I'll just cut back to that main camera. And in terms of that kind of use case, I suppose we've got an increasing number of dealers and retailers that are using this functionality now, and a number of different integration points to get the data through online. That's something obviously we've been tracking. I know, with significant high lines every week. How is it being received in terms of this tooling being made available to the retailers? Are they? I suppose the roles are transitioning slightly in terms of now people are having to get, the roles are moving more into this digital function. Are you seeing that kind of uptake in the businesses?
Yeah, really, really well. Obviously we've been through, a tough for everyone 12 months really, or certainly coming up for 12 months. But, really it has kind of lent itself to the importance of SalesMaster, of StockBook, of being able to manage your stock, but also to have that, to be able to share that to wherever you want to share those vehicles, and you're in full control of that. So I know you mentioned it earlier about what do I want to share, what don't I want to share. Well, we tell our partners the rules that are set around them. So we're going to share to your website every vehicle you add an offer price to.
Yeah.
If you don't add an offer price to that vehicle, it won't go. Or if it might be images, it might be video, it could be anything. Or in some cases, with some of our more media partners, the larger ones, that you can select the vehicles you want to display across. So show me a report of the ones that I'm showing. Great. Show me the ones that I'm not showing. So you can build all these reports, and you tend to find it's becoming a really simple task for our partners, for our clients to do in SalesMaster, and it's accessible, and once you get through that kind of first bulk of the data, you're just topping up as vehicles kind of drift into the criteria you want them to be.
And I guess it's really really joined up that marketing function in the business with the sales team. In terms of SalesMaster, previously obviously heavily relied upon in the business as that inventory tool, but now increasingly being equally as important in the marketing functions in terms of connecting these online channels.
You want all your vehicles online, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
And you have done for a while. And I know obviously the announcement came yesterday, and we're changing in another 7 weeks. How quick it goes back to normal, nobody really know, or I say normal.
Yeah.
There might be a new normal.
Yeah.
So we're keeping these all connected, live, and in a good place. I don't see why this just doesn't continue to expand and grow. And as that happens, we, Steve and the product team just continue to develop or simplify how the user uses the system to get the best out of it. So yeah, long may that continue for us as well.
Yeah, definitely. So if you haven't got StockBook in the business, and you've got this period now, we can maximise the online capability, but also it's a brilliant time to get up and running, implementing some of these tools. Let's hope we're going to have a fantastic April in the industry, and get things moving. It's pent up demand hopefully, and lots more traction, and make that the new March. So but yeah, please get in touch. It'd be great if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and obviously send any content questions or comments in just to be covered on this. So we'll continue to share what we do, and we'd love to hear from you, because it's it's a really important part of kind of how we stay in touch with you as our customers. So please get in touch through the usual channels. Okay, well, I think that just about wraps it up for today, Howard. So we're just over the half an hour. So thanks ever so much for joining us again. Stay safe.
No problem at all. Thank you.
And yes, we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks very much.